And then they started launching the satellites. Sputnik 2 became the first satellite to be in space, and then Americans, they also started sending their things into space. So this is how the space tech era started between these two countries. Now, in 1960s, Americans announced a mission which actually changed the perspective of this industry, which got converted from the competition level to the exploration level, and which took Indians to not Indians, sorry, humans to moon. We all know that mission. We were not born at that time, but we still know because it created a very big impact. Still, people remember it. It's Apollo, correct? Apollo became the series of mission which took humans to. I know history is boring. I'll cut it off very fast, right? And then we'll come to the today's space industry and we'll talk about sounding rockets and other rockets as well. You can ask me queries, technical queries, even you can ask me things related to business. दोनों ही नहीं आता मुझे, तो जैसे आएगा उतना मैं समझाऊंगा आपको. ठीक है. So thing is this is how then Apollo was conducted. Neil Armstrong became the first person. Then the second was Buzz Aldrin who stepped on moon. Third person whom I call the most unfortunate person, Michael Collins. He went to moon. He was in the capsule, but he was not allowed to step on. Right? He was there in the spacecraft. जबकि Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were there on moon. अगर उनके बदले मैं होता ना, माइकल कॉलिंस के बदले, मैं कुछ नहीं सोचता. नासा गया भाड़ में या कोई भी गया भाड़ में, ठीक है. आई वुड हैव स्टेप्ड ऑन मून एंड देन क्या करते ज्यादा से ज्यादा आई वुड हैव डाइड देयर, राइट? बट मजा आता वो चीज. द थिंग इज कि the thing is that was a time when people actually got fascinated about space, when they were watching this Apollo landing live, and then when they saw the launch as well, it actually created an impact on the mind of people. In US, they started creating an ecosystem where they used to fly launch like not the launch because sorry model rockets. They used to fly the high powered rockets, and that is how kids were now getting involved in such activities. Before that, only people into military or people into engineering were being a part of such industry, but now kids were also making small scale rockets and were flying them. Obviously, they were not going to space, but they were, at least doing something with this, to fulfill their interest of pursuing their career into this. So that is what happened at that time. India didn't have space, program. Okay. But there was a conference which was being held, international conference, and one of the Indians who was into ISC decided to represent India in that conference. Now, in that conference, every country were being allocated parking slots, satellites parking slots for free of cost. Okay. What are the satellites parking slots? You cannot put your satellite anywhere into space. Every country have been allocated some space there, and where only you can put your satellite. Now, who was that person who represented India there? उनका अभी बर्थडे था 2 दिन पहले. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai sir, he decided to represent India. He went there. Now, Americans and Russians asked for 5 parking slots. Okay? Sorry, 2 parking slots. Then Japan and China asked for 1. India asked for 5 parking slots. Okay? What was the reason behind that? The reason was they were free of cost, and second, Vikram Sarabhai sir was a Gujarati. Right? And we Gujarati people never miss out free things. Fine. So they actually now India got 5 parking slots, and then that is how the space program in India got started. Then ISRO launched the first rocket from Indian line. Which was the rocket? Don't mention SLV there. SLV wasn't. And Aryabhatta was a satellite, which was also not launched from India, by the way. It was launched from Kazakhstan. Rohini was the satellite. RH-100 is the sounding rocket which we own right now, which was the first rocket. It was not built in India. That was Apache Nike. Apache Nike was the first sounding rocket which was launched from India. It was an American rocket which was being, carried to India and then assembled here and then launched. Excuse me. Then that is how Indian space program had a very humble beginning. At that time, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai sir announced that we should be second to none in the terms of space application. Fine. Now, at that time, India became first and the only country to use space for the commercial purpose and for the common people. All the countries were building things for the exploration and for the military purpose, but India was the only country at that time who was making things for common people, like for education, for farmers, for fishermen, right? And then all the countries started that program again. Now this was all about the government things which are still going on, right? And in the abyss of this particular uh, you know government era in the year 2000, and after the year 2000, a lot of private companies they came into existence. Right. Now I'm going to cut everything in short, and then I'll directly move on to question answers, because the thing is I want to know that what are your requirements, what you want to know, and I would exactly focus on that thing, and then we'll talk about sounding rockets for sure. So the thing is, in 2000 and after 2000, there are a lot of companies they started building rockets. People used to believe that rocket science and rocket engineering is going to be limited to the government companies, right? But which were the companies who changed this mindset? No sooner I complete my question, Asid is ready with the keyboard. SpaceX. Okay, not only SpaceX, but there were a lot of companies who were there at that time. There were like Blue Origin, ULA, and other companies. They existed at that time and who were constantly building the, manufacturing the parts of the rockets. But Blue Origin was the company who actually, created that concept of bringing private and commercial launchers. Then SpaceX, and then most of the companies they got started after 2000, year 2000, right? Then we had we have got Virgin Orbit, we have got Virgin Galactic, right? Rocket Labs, we have Firefly Aerospace. So all these companies are right now working on one common goal, that is to make space accessible for everyone. Elon Musk have got a very separate plan with the SpaceX. They want to expand humanity to other planets and to make things sustainable. But other companies, like few companies are into space tourism, but most of the companies are for the small satellite launch vehicle services. Okay. Like for example, Rocket Labs. Then we have got Virgin Orbit. Then we have got Firefly Aerospace. These companies are focusing on putting small satellites to low Earth orbit. Now, this was all about the foreign companies that we have in our country. Now let's talk about our own country. Okay, we have got so many rocket companies. We have got so many space education based companies. And I would like you guys to name them. We all know these companies, right? Because the last couple of years, these companies have been coming up with a very good performance. Like Agnikul is there. Then we have got Skyroot who performed the engine test a couple of days back, right? The Bellatrix is performing really good. They are building the ion propulsion system for ISRO right now. Then like Skyroot, everyone is writing about Skyroot. Then Agnikul is there. Okay, I've never heard about Taneja. I guess it's the name of a guy or what. But Team Indus, yes, someone is saying Star. Thank you so much. So these all companies are into rockets, but let's name few companies who are into satellites, who are also into space education. Star is into space education as of now. Let's talk about the satellite also. We should give a shout out to these companies, right? Because they are also doing space stuff. Space Kids India, yes, SKI. Like Rifat Sharik is one of my good friends. Then NHP said I've never heard about them. A shout out to them. And then guys, if you like people who are there who don't know about these companies, make a list and you can search about them. We have got Brahmastra. We have got a lot of the other companies who are doing really good, right? And who are now bringing the change. So if people say that you don't have opportunities in India in aerospace, that's wrong. We have got so many opportunities now. It's just dependent on your skills. It's just dependent on your passion. Fine. So now these are the companies which are coming, which are completely changing the whole perspective of the Indian space ecosystem, Indian space startup ecosystem. The all companies are working together to provide opportunities to aspiring space pioneers. Fine. So now now let's talk about rockets first, because we have to like this session is being focused on the rockets. There are four types of rockets. First question is, what is a rocket according to you? What's a rocket? I would like you guys to unmute yourself. A launch vehicle. It's a type of rocket. I'm asking what is the definition of a rocket? According to you. I don't want a definition from Google or any book. Okay. Shivam Chaube. You can answer what is a rocket according to you. Am I audible, Shivam? something that has escaped gravity. Okay. शिवम सुन पा रहा है कि नहीं? I don't know. Okay. Asit, you can tell.
Okay, hi Sunny. So according to me, anything it's a vehicle basically to launch stuff into space.
To launch something to space. Okay, that's the application of a rocket. I am asking about the definition of the rocket.
Okay.
Vehicle that could operate beyond carbon line. They can work here, right? And if something is working beyond carbon line, they can be a satellite. Why aren't we calling them the rockets? Anything that uses thrust to gain. Okay, that was close. Which propels payload. That was close. Okay. See, there can be multiple definitions which can be based on the applications as well. Like Asit and few people said, vehicle to carry anything to from Earth to space, right? But the real definition is any particular system which can produce thrust and which can propel itself. Okay. And one of the very unique definition I got from a school student was a rocket is an explosive or a bomb whose explosion is under control and unidirectional. Got it? An explosive whose explosion is under control and unidirectional. Fine. So there can be any definition. You can define rocket in your way. Just the thing is you have to be conceptually right. Fine. Now, can I call balloon as a rocket? No. But what if for example, if I blow air inside balloon and if I release that air, now what will happen? Then balloon will keep moving in one direction. The air from the balloon will come out. Okay? It will produce what we say, the force on the balloon structure which will propel it up. It won't go to space, right? But it is still working. So balloon can be called as a rocket. Fine. Another thing, on which principle rocket works on? Newton's third law. Okay, Gopal ने सही दिया, Sai ने सही दिया. Newton's third law. Okay, Gopal, can you please unmute yourself? Can you explain why it is not Newton's third law of motion and why it is second law or the law of conservation of momentum? Please explain.
Hello.
Yes, Gopal.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Can you explain why the momentum and why not the third law of motion?
Third law is also applicable, sir, but more like second law.
Pardon?
The conservation of third law is also applicable, sir.
Okay.
But more likely it is second law.
Yes, third law is related to the second law, but the basic, if you see, the base is the second law, right? And I'll explain why it is second law, like more preferable for this. For example, now I was talking about with the perspective of humans when we are watching rocket. Okay, what happens is when you're standing, you're watching rocket. अगर मान लो आपको कूदना है, if you want to jump, what you will do? You will bend yourself a bit. You'll push the land, ठीक है, and then you will take a leap. That's the right way to jump, right? You bend yourself. You put a force on the ground, and then ground produces some force on you, and that is why you get lifted off. That is how you jump, right? Rockets जमीन को धक्का मारते हैं क्या? Does rocket push the land and go to space?
No.
No, right? So yes, Gopal, you can unmute yourself or mute yourself now. Okay, thank you. So rocket never pushes land and then they go to space. It's the propellant which is burning inside the rocket, which is producing gases, and then when they're released out of the structure, they produces this force on the structure which is lifting it off in the opposite direction. Similar like balloon. Okay, and that is what we call m1v1 equals to m2v2, which is nothing but law of conservation of momentum. But if in exams, teachers, if they are asking you the principle, please write Newton's third law of motion, because we live in India, and in India we have to follow whatever textbook says. right? I got failed because of that. Fine. So I don't want you guys to then come to me and then complain that you said about Newton's second law and now my teacher is telling third law. So मेरे को fail कर दिया. Now you give me some bucks so that I can give my paper for rechecking. No, I won't, because I'm a startup. I don't have money. Okay. So the thing is, in exams, for teachers, it's third law. For us, it is second law. Physics is different for both. Fine. So this is how rocket works. Now there are 4 types. One is of model rocket, high powered rocket, sounding rockets, and then launch vehicles. What are model rockets? Model rockets are small toy rockets which can go up to the height of few meters, like 100 meters or less than that. And it contains just a structure. It contains a propulsion system like a motor and a nose cone and a recovery system. That's it. Nothing else. No electronics, no metallic parts. Just a cardboard structure with the motor inside it, and you launch them. I hope you guys know about motors. It's a solid propelled engine, what you can call it, right? Then comes high-powered rockets. That is what we manufacture at Star. And high-powered rockets are more powerful than this. They can go up to height of 400 meters to 1 kilometer. We launch everything beyond, like, not beyond 400 meters. Everything, we are limited to 400 right now. And they can have a flight computer. They can have basic electronics they contain, right? No guidance, nothing. Just a basic electronics which can gather the altitude-based data, which can even transmit it. It have a high-powered rocket motor as well, which have a very good specific impulse, more than 100 seconds. And for US, the standards are different, but for India, no one have defined a standard, so we have defined our own standards here. But it has got a like 110-second specific impulse, and then the lift-off mass is also like more with comparison to the model rocket. They weigh up to 150 grams, model rockets, but this can weigh up to 1.5 kg. We have not built anything to 1.5 kg. We have limited ourselves to 1.2 yet, but utna weigh kar sakta hai. Then comes sounding rockets and launch vehicles. Both rockets can go to space. Both rockets can put a satellite to space. Then what are the difference between both? Asit is writing something. Payload carrying size. Okay. A launch vehicle and a sounding rocket both can have the same capacity of payload as well. What's the difference between both? See, one of the differences is engine, like this suborbital. Yes, sounding rockets generally are for the suborbital flights, not the orbital. Okay. They can carry a payload, but it cannot put it into orbit. It again comes back. Then commercialize wala portion. Like, for example, if any one of you is a automobile engineer, if you build a car in your as a final year project, will you be able to sell it in market? No, right? You need to get safety protocols documents signed from the institutes. Germany ka ek institute hai uske paas. You need some selling license, manufacturing license. You need to standardize your components, right? You need to go through a lot of safety checks. Sounding rockets are research-based rockets. वो safety checks से नहीं जाते. When all things get standardized, then that sounding rocket can be converted into the launch vehicle, which is a commercialized sounding rocket. Now launch vehicles are guided. You might have seen in the launch of ISRO, jahan pe they have got a predefined trajectory, and then they keep on plotting the real-time trajectory, always matches, right? But sounding rockets are like engineering students. Once ignited, they don't know where to go, right? I'm an engineer, by the way, okay? So no offense. But this is a fact, right? So this is the difference between them. I don't know why we were given the topic of sounding rockets, but in India, most of us don't know what is the difference between these rockets, right? Like a lot of people, they make model rockets, they call them high-powered rockets. A lot of people, when make high-powered rockets, they call them the sounding rockets, which is a complete wrong thing. Right? Sounding rockets have got capacity of going up to Kálmán line and beyond, and perform a suborbital flight as well. Now, if we have to talk about sounding rockets, the major subsystems are, the first is a propulsion system, which you can opt for a solid or a liquid, right? We can get into details later on. If you guys have any query, you can ask, but this is what it contains. It has got a very, it has got not so very advanced guidance. It has got guidance, but not so advanced. It can just give you the data about the inclination, the altitude, and the velocity and acceleration. That is basic telemetry. And then it has got flight termination system. Plus, it has also got a good payload capacity. Like it can carry more than 100 kg. Also, there are a lot of sounding rockets which can carry that, right? But they're not so easily accessible nowadays. And these sounding rockets can have 3 redundant flight computers or more than that. Fine. Now, what are they? Like, you cannot have only one flight computer. You cannot depend on one. If anything goes wrong with it, your flight will be deviated and you might lose, end up losing your rocket. So you cannot have one. So for high powered rockets, you generally keep one because you don't have got a good mass budget for that. So we also use only one, and that's just a controller, normal controller that we use. But for sounding rockets, you need to have an advanced controllers. So there are a lot of advanced controllers which can, like, you have to customize and you have to get it manufactured from the industries and which you can use. But it completely depends on your mission objective. Like every sounding rocket, if you are there just to perform test for the subsystems, if you are there to deploy the payloads, it's completely different. Depends on your mission objective. There is no standard design for a sounding rocket, or there is no standard definition also for the sounding rocket. Okay. But it is clear it cannot be there into orbit. It just follow a parabolic path, a trajectory, and then it returns back to Earth. But you cannot lend them because the materials which are used are of not so good grade. Okay, so it will get melted when they enters. Now, what about launching sounding rockets? It's not an easy task. Like I have heard that a lot of the not an easy task in the sense it's easy to build them, but difficult to get them licensed and difficult to get permission to launch, especially from India, right? So when you make a communication system, you need a certification from FCC, from WCC or WWC. I don't remember that organization, but FCC is one, and WCC is the another one. You need to get everything certified. Then you need to get permission from the airport authority to get the accessibility of the airspace, right, before launching. You need to have the clarification from the international union to ensure that wahan pe you don't have any space debris or any satellite is not going, your rocket might get collided with the satellite and you might end up losing your rocket. So a rocket is important right now. So now iske liye you cannot launch directly. So a lot of things comes into consideration for building these sounding rockets. So now I would like to get questions from your side and then take the session ahead, because अगर मैं बोलता रहूंगा आपको बहुत सारी चीजें पता भी होगी, right? So I would like directly come to the point, the things that you want to know. Fine. So, and that can be not only related to rockets, that can be related to rockets, startups, our upcoming plans, the announcement which we are going to do in the September. It can be anything related to space. मैंने पहले ही बताया कुछ भी नहीं आता, तो जो भी पूछोगे उसका ट्राई करेंगे आंसर देने. We are open for the questions now. Yeah. You have to unmute and ask. Okay, I won't be able to read the chat. I guess 99%. Okay, Prathamesh ने answer दिया था. Commercialize. $60 people and not a single question. How can it be possible? Okay, Asit, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, so I had one question in mind. So like we don't have a lot of sounding rocket motors available in India. It's available in the States, but it's not available in India. So I would like to talk to you more about this. Like,
sure.
How are we going to get that space in here in India? Because we have a lot of potential here. We have a lot of students who are like working on these projects, but they don't have access to those resources, like the fuel, basic fuel.
Correct. So now it's very important. Recently, I had a meeting with the co-founder of the setsearch.co, Narayan Prasad, and I was talking about Indian startup ecosystem and about the ecosystem of the model and high-powered rockets we have in India. And then we came to this point of rocket motors and other thing. Now, what do you think? Why do we don't have? Still, we don't have the motor manufacturing company in India. What's the reason behind that, according to you?
It might get political and something like that. It could have some negative impact. Like we can, instead of making a sounding rocket, we would make an ICBM.
To be frank,
Could be
Like
anything.
let's talk about the scale of model rocket as of now. They are safe, right? Like the number of model rockets we launch in the month of October and November is more than the number of rocket launches which are there in the US. Like Diwali mein jo rockets udate hain, they are model rockets basically, right? So these motors are available now. Diwali motors are available, though we don't call them motors, but they are motors, right? I'll tell you why. So if we talk about the uh, you know the trend that the US had, and like they actually accepted the club and the group formation when the Apollo happened. In our country, right, still the people are not collaborating, right? For example, what if like for example, what if 10 students decide to make a group, a model rocket group? And what if India gets 100 such groups and then they go to Department of Space to ask to to make some rules for model rockets and high powered rockets? So I talked to Narayan Prasad, and when I asked him why India don't have the that big exponential growth chart, he said that every country is approaching ISRO, but as an individual, and ISRO that's why is not trying their best to help. They are helping, but they are not trying their best to help. But what if all companies collectively go to ISRO at same time now, and with their requirements together, right? Every company is putting their own requirements, but what if they collect all requirements, and what if they put it in front of ISRO? Now ISRO will get pressurized and then they will decide to help, right? So this is very important. So ये हमेशा याद रखना कि जब तक इकोसिस्टम नहीं बनेगा तब तक इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं बनेगी, right? Because without ecosystem you cannot have an industry. Like it's similar like an environment. Without a warm environment you cannot grow a cactus. You need an environment to grow, right? So when an ecosystem builds, when you collaborate things, when things work with a coordination, so that is important. Right now in India everyone is actually running in different directions. I can see a lot of spaces like aspiring space pioneers, but one is doing something, second is doing something. No one is thinking of collaborating. There are a lot of challenges of starting a motor company, because you have to, like, it's an explosive again. So a lot of certifications are to be done, a lot of standardization are to be done. You have to have your factory in a remote location, then you need to control the temperature and pressure there so that you can get the standard performance for all the motors. So a lot of things are to be taken into consideration while doing that. But someone have to take their initiative, and that can be taken when people can realize that there is an actual demand of this in Indian market. Right now, why people are not doing? Because they cannot see the requirement. The requirement is there, but no one is asking for it to the investors or the startups. So when you'll put your requirement, people will start working, and then they will come up with this. About the sounding rockets, I guess even US do not have the motors for sounding rockets which are commercialized. Everyone have to make their own motors, and they have to modify their motors, or they have to ask the companies to get them customized. So it's difficult in India right now to dream of sounding rockets, but I guess in next 5 years we will start having the this like small initiatives which will be working on them. But right now it's very difficult for the sounding rockets. By the way, nice question, because we were struggling with getting our motors. Okay, next question. Thank you.
We have got questions from audience.
Okay, cool.
Can we test a rocket motor on ground? That's the question.
Okay, so you're asking about this small scale motors, like for the high powered rockets, or the
Yeah,
mono rocket?
you haven't mentioned it in the question.
Okay, no worries. So, like, yes, we can, like, rocket motors, like before launch you cannot do, obviously, but what you can do is like before putting anything into rocket we have to test them. Everything has to pass through a test. So what you can do is, like, you can put your motors in a test bed. Like, you can have a load cell attached there, and you that load cell then needs to be connected with an amplifier, because the stress which is being generated during the test, which will be converted into electrical signal, but that signal will be having a very low power. So you have to amplify that thing, and then you have to give it to your controller, and then controller can display that the amount of weight which is being experienced by the load cell. Then you have to get it converted into Newton, which is going to be a thrust. So motors can be tested, but then they cannot be used. Like once the fuel is gone, you cannot recover it back, right? But you can standardize a design and then you can rebuild the same design and then like an identical one, and then you can perform a launch.
The next question is, what will be the scope of students from automation for space industry? What will be his role?
Just wait for 6 months and then I guess we will be ready to invite you, because automation is a very important thing when you are working for a space mission. Like, for example, launch vehicle, I guess everything is automated once your rocket is there on the launch pad, and once, after like before 1 minute of the launch, things are being controlled by the rocket itself now. And rocket have to perform all the maneuvers that it needs to do to follow the predefined trajectory to reach to its destination. Now, reaching to the destination is not the only thing, right? Reaching with the right angle, right means not the 90 degree, with the correct angle, and reaching there with the correct velocity is important, right? So, for example, I reach to the height of 600 kilometers, but my orbital velocity is less, than it won't be able to sustain there, right? It will get degraded and it will come back. Then deploying your particular payload at a particular altitude, above the particular lat long is important, and at a specific time. For example, if I build a satellite which have got a 24 hours of orbital period, what will happen if I want my satellite every time to be there above Surat at 4 p.m.? So I have to launch and I have to put it at 4 p.m. itself there. Then only because of 24 hours, every 24 hours, it will be there above Surat. What if I delay it for 2 hours, and if I launch it at 6 p.m., the next day it will be there, and if I put it right up there, so it will be there above Surat at 6 p.m. and it won't be of any use. So putting things on time and putting things within accuracy is very important in space. And for all those things, you have to continuously monitor the data which are being generated and how to convert that data into, and that comes into GNC, which is guidance and navigation. The correct chronology is navigation, guidance, control. So where navigation means to know where you are, guidance means where you know where to go, and controls means how to go. So once you navigate, you know where you are right now, and then you generate the guidance signals that they are input to the control system, and that is how you control the whole trajectory. So automation plays, I guess, very major role in building a rocket.
We have got a question. Okay.
Yes, Mandar. I guess Mandar have got a question. Yes, Mandar.
Sir, is PLC used in rockets?
Like, I have no idea about PLC being used in rockets, but I guess it can be used. It can be used.
Okay.
Yes, Sai, you were asking something.
We have got some questions from the comments. Any reference books, lectures, material we can use to learn about rockets?
जितना पढ़ोगे कम है. Actually, see, I have about the propulsion system. I have read only one book, which is the Rocket Propulsion Elements, which is written by Sutton and Biblers, and like, it is good one. It is considered to be the Bible for the propulsion system engineers, and it's good one. About the lectures, NPTEL is what I recommend. Like, it's not so boring, but maza aega if you are there, if you like equations, if you like to understand things from the theoretical perspective, it's good, right? Otherwise, most of the things you have to experiment out and you have to make logically. Like, if I talk about the guidance and navigation, if I talk about few like the algorithms, I prefer that you can take help of the research papers, but don't try to copy them. Try to make your own logics and try to optimize things. So that is the approach that I guess you should have, and that will help you out to get up a better performance.
We have got another question. Is it good to use solid rocket fuel in a model rocket, and what are its benefits over other fuel type?
In model rockets, you cannot opt for any other kind of propulsion system. See, let's talk about liquid. Like for liquid, you need propulsion, like fuel tank. You need a oxidizer tank. You need valves. You need chamber. You need the pressure fed system or a pump fed system. You need nozzle. You need a lot of things, right? So because of the weight constraint, you cannot put these things into the model rocket. So you cannot opt for that. Obviously, you cannot go for the ion because it's a space to space travel. It's not earth to space travel. and again it needs a lot of components to be placed. So all propulsion system except the solid motors are heavier, and the thrust by weight ratio is not so good. So you can opt for the small scale rocket motors, which are easy to make, right, which are easy to build. So with the perspective of money, like it's cheaper, it's economical, it's easy to replicate, it's easy to build, like you can build a number of engines in a day, and like even the thrust by weight ratio is good, so you can opt like only go for the hype this solid motors for the model rocket scale.
Sir, I have a question regarding reusability of rockets. What are the main challenges in making a rocket reusable?
What are the main?
Challenges in making a rocket reusable.
Is he audible?
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hello. Pardon?
Sir,
Sorry. Yes.
so what are the main challenges in making a rocket reusable?
Okay. Nice question. I would like to answer this because this is something which I like reusability of rockets. So first challenge is when you are thinking of putting a reusable technology in a rocket. Like people think you have to just put legs and then you have to land them. It's easy thing. No, it's not. You are actually adding up mechanism that's in hardware. You have to make your algorithms more accurate now because you cannot land anywhere, right? You have to land at the proper place. Algorithms should be like more accurate and they will become more complex. Okay. And you are adding up the extra fuel so that you can while having a retropropulsive based landing procedure, you have to have some fuel left in the engine, in the tank, sorry. So you have an extra hardware, you have extra fuel, you have the software complexity. So these are the challenges now. And when you actually are launching extra fuel and the landing legs, you're carrying a very heavy mass. And to put a single cage in space, it takes a lot of money, right? So good. So monetarily wise, or the like in the terms of economy, it's really expensive to put a reusable concept in a small scale rockets. So these are the challenges, and when you go to space, when you're returning back now, your rocket will be facing a temperature which is going to be more than 3000 degrees Celsius while returning back, right? जब वो return हो रहा है तो इतना the temperature will increase, so your material science will play a very important role now. So the material of the rocket will get changed, when you are going for the reusability. So a lot of complexity comes into the picture, but then again, department you can solve it, and then you can you can make it possible. So these are the challenges, the core challenges which one faces while planning a retro-propulsive based landing.
Hello, Via.
Hi, Pratmesh.
I have one question regarding testing of motors. Like in SpaceX and NASA, we have seen very many videos that they do a horizontal testing, right? Like
Yes.
horizontal, and in Star we use vertical. So, is there any
Yes.
difference between them?
There is a very big difference. See, now I'll explain the concept. For example, if my motor is this is my motor, and if I can generate thrust in the upper direction, right? So what is happening now? Understand this. And this is my load cell. My hand is my load cell. So when this engine starts, it will bend this particular load cell. Now there will always be an mg component which will be there. So the reading which you will be getting, because you're performing it practically, so the reading which you are getting is not the actual thrust reading. The mg vector is getting subtracted. Okay, thrust is nothing but force, and mg is also force. So it is being subtracted. So to know the actual thrust, you have to add mg. Now this mg is also varying. So you need to have a burn rate. Like for example, 100 grams is getting burned in 3 seconds. So at first second, the mg will be 100 into g. In second it will be around 60 into g. And at the last, it will be 30 into g. Okay, so burn rate will be like the fuel at every second will be different because you're constantly burning it up. So you have to add that. For example, if you're testing it upside down, now, like for example, you have a load cell in the bottom and then you're putting this force. Now what will happen? Your thrust is getting added directly with your mg because niche ki or aa raha hai. So what you have to do to get the actual thrust, what you have to do, you have to remove mg. So that to prevent these things, to remove these components, they're testing everything horizontal, so that now there won't be any mg which will be acting. Okay, it will be an actual thrust you'll be getting, but the results are same because you have to just remove mg. But in big rockets, you have to take mg for all instantaneous time, and jitna resolution will increase. For example, the resolution right now is 1 second for me. If in 3 seconds of burn I'm taking 1 second, what if I go with a 0.01 second resolution? I can get mg for 0.01, mg for 0.02. At every time, my mg will be different because at every time my propellant is getting changed, amount of mass of propellant. So this dynamic nature of the mg vector, it creates a lot of garbage value in your particular data, but it's not so big in the small scale motors. You can manage it, but when you're working with the big scale motors, this will be giving you a very different value. So you cannot do that vertical or the horizontal test. You have upside down or the normal orientation. You have to go with the horizontal. At Star, why we are doing vertical? Because by putting into rocket, it will be vertical, right? If we are launching a rocket up, so it will be vertical. So in rocket, anyway, we have to remove that particular mg during the equation while making a trajectory. So rather than doing that, हम वही thrust का value डाल देते हैं अपने equations में, हो जाता है. I hope you got the idea what I was trying to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Questions? Sai, we can have questions that you already collected from the students before this session.
Okay. Since you told about advantages of using solid motors in sounding rocketry, but it also has a disadvantage that it could not be throttled, right? It could not be controlled in an efficient manner. And similarly, liquid propulsion system will have a poor thrust to weight ratio. So why can't we go to hybrid engines? And what are your views on using hybrid engine sounding rockets?
So to be frank, I am not a great fan of hybrid engines. The reason is the complexity is very high. They are as complex as the liquids, plus they are as what we say, expensive as them as well. Like less than that, but almost the same. And that's the reason we are not preparing for that. But yes, obviously, for the sounding rockets, you can opt for the hybrid, where you can control the flow of the oxidizer, and when it is passing to a core of the fuel, and then you can control the thrust. But I guess there are a lot of limitations of that. There are a lot of residues which comes into picture while you are burning your fuel. So the amount of residue which are being generated in solid is the highest, then comes the hybrid, and then least into the liquid. So when I suggest, when you're going for the higher altitudes, go with the liquid, no matter the scale of the rocket, but try to make something which is dealing with liquids, because you will get a good combustion, you will get good ISP as well, and you will be able to throttle, you will be able to perform thrust vector controlling. If you're going by a very short altitude where the thrust vector controlling is not an issue, then opt for the solid. But hybrids, I don't prefer them because of the complexity and the expensiveness that they have. Otherwise, if you are willing to do, you can obviously build that. You can throttle, and you can also manage to get the required thrust at every point.
The next question is, to what extent does sounding rockets serve the purpose of experimentation?
So again, it depends on the scale on which you're building. Like for example, like if you want to go beyond the Earth's atmosphere, like you can also build a sounding rocket for that, and you can carry out the experiments. Like you can have your like one of the experiments that we can discuss is you can have a comparison between two different components structure. Like one, you can cover it with a lead cover, and second, you can have a normal component that we use on Earth. You can launch both the payloads to the space, and then you can allow the radiation to enter, and then you will be easily able to see the amount of radiation which is being absorbed by the lead, and which is protecting the all electronic components will be good, and the other components will stop working there. So this is one of the experiments which a lot of companies they perform. Then you can also have an experimentation based on cameras, and testing your spectrometers and other things. So, and like most of people are launching things to that particular height just for fun, and to click the pictures of the Earth curvature, and to prove the flat Earth society. I hope this video is not going to be uploaded anywhere because Flat Earth Society is a very controversial thing. So yeah, if you are going to upload, then please edit it. But to prove them, what we do is a lot of people are sending cameras and CCD cams, CMOS and other things there and collecting pictures so that they can prove that Earth is round and not flat. So these are a few of the experiments which you can perform at student scale. Earth is flat. Okay. ठीक है यार मैं मान लेता हूँ. I won't fight on this. Or else I can say wait for the answer, like wait for the answer for like at least 3 to 4 years. फिर देख लेंगे, पता नहीं मुझे भी आंसर क्या है. Why are we not using the nuclear propulsion for rockets like Iron Man? Okay, so yeah, nuclear propulsion again, it's derived from the iron, and you actually use plasma and then you heat it up. Millions of degree तक का temperature पहुंच जाता है. Right now, material science is not so advanced, right, which can sustain that temperature. And that's the reason the nuclear propulsion systems cannot be used as of now. But future, हो सकता है. We should have a company which is only dedicated in the material science and space industry. I guess most of the work of the other companies will get lighten up if we get this material science company. It's very important, and you guys, mechanical guys, have got a very good scope in this particular. Like engineers have got good scope in this. Infinite energy, right? Next question: why SpaceX rockets are more efficient and why they call them reusable rockets? They are most efficient. Rockets' efficiency are on the basis of the amount of fuel they use to put something to space. One thing is that, and like per kg. Second thing is the orbital accuracy they can have. I guess the Rocket Lab's Electron has got the higher accuracy till date for putting anything in space. I don't know the correct one, but I heard somewhere that they are putting things to space into orbit with very high accuracy. And why they call them reusable rockets? Because they are reusing them. They are recovering their rocket, vertically landing them, and then they are reusing. So that's the reason that we call them reusing. Like all the structure and other component hardware are being reused. You just need to put fuel. It's not so easy. You have to refurbish things. You have to check things, and then just fuel it up, and then you can. They are ready to launch. So that's the reason we call them reusable rockets. Okay, Sai, we can have questions now. Meanwhile, people, you can drop your questions into comment section. We will take them up. And you can ask me about startups, entrepreneurship, right? I would like to answer those questions as well. I would be happy to see people asking about startups and entrepreneurship. We need more jobs creator. Hi, Priyansh. Happy to see you here. Yes, Sai.
Sir, we have a question regarding startup. So how to build a startup company, how to manage funding, and how do you handle pressures during startup?
ये बंदा जिसने पूछा है वो पक्का सिंगर है लाइफ. Then only you might have asked this how to handle things. Okay, if you were any time in relationship, it would be easy for you to know how to handle things. But anyways, how to do startup? It's a long process, man, but it's not difficult. It's very easy thing. See, first thing I would ask you guys. First thing, पहला क्या चाहिए to have a start? Idea. Okay. Idea. Okay. Funding, proper plan, revenue model, team, purpose, vision, need. Amazing. Motivation. Okay. All of it. Last वाला Nobel Prize winner है. ठीक है. सबसे पहले चाहिए प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट, और उससे भी पहले चाहिए ब्रेव माइंड. तो ठीक है यार, व्हेन यू आर पैशनेट इनफ, ब्रेव माइंड कुछ नहीं होता. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर आपको कोई लड़की के ऊपर क्रश है, फाइन, और एक लड़की से आप सीरियस लव करते हो, तो क्रश के पास जाने में डर लगेगा, बट जो सीरियसली आप जिससे लव करते हो उतना करेज आ जाएगा, यू विल गो एंड प्रपोज हर, राइट. सो करेज तो आ जाता है व्हेन यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट समथिंग एंड व्हेन यू ट्रूली लव इट, राइट, वेदर इट्स अ पर्सन और योर जॉब और योर वर्क. ठीक है, बट वो तो अलग है बात. First thing you need is you have to decide your domain, in which industry you want to enter. Whether you want to be in sports, you want to have your startup in sports, you want to have your startup in aerospace or the space industry, you want to have your startup in digital marketing, you want to have your startup in finance. You have to decide a domain. After deciding the domain, you have to find out the problems. Nowadays, what people are doing is they are coming up with the same concept. I will start a second Facebook, I'll start a second WhatsApp, second Flipkart, second Amazon. ये like second Amazon already is a Flipkart, but उसके बाद वाला, ठीक है? So people are coming and इसको बोलते हैं Me Too concept. Me too will be doing this, and that's wrong. You have to understand the needs of the industry. Even if you make a time machine, but there is no customer for that, the time machine won't be of any use. So first thing you need to understand the needs of the customer. So problem do. Now I will. There's no standard recipe to have a startup. No like standard flow, but this is what I followed, and this is what I generally study. ये कर सकते. Second thing, like once you find a problem, now you will find a solution. By finding and experiencing problem is important because once, like for example, if you have gone through a depression, you can easily understand the feeling of the other person who is going to under the depression. If you have never gone through depression and if you just keep on giving suggestions, it will never work out. You have to experience the the pain that people get. So every founder should feel that pain, right? In India, there was no private company was serving like who was providing space education at that time, which we felt and we started there, right? So this is what is important. Understand the pain of the customer, then try to find a solution. Then comes to now solution आ गया. अब क्या करेंगे? Now we will be going for the team. Team में किसको लेंगे? Friends. But that is the wrong thing. Always go with the person, like we have heard that we should get people on board who are like-minded, but go with the people who are not like-minded, who are always complimentary, who have like about regarding their skills. Like for example, Sai, are you there? I have a question for you.
Yes, sir, I'm there.
If you have to marry a girl and there are two girls, one and you love both of them, hypothetical, right? होता नहीं ऐसा, but मान ले. One is an engineer and one is a commerce का. Whom will you select? With the perspective of an entrepreneur, ठीक है? दोनों से equal love करते हो.
I would go with the engineering.
Engineering, right? Because like-minded. But now, for example, you both are working in a startup. You started like, okay, now what will happen? How will you be able to handle the finance? You will hire some person, you will pay them. What if you select the commerce girl? You will be able to take care of engineering of your startup, and then she will be handling the finance, and now you got a good collaboration, right? This will work. This will work, right? You won't interfere in her work, and she won't interfere in your work. Just a hypothetical situation again. Okay, fine. Fine. So similar way in startups, you don't have to find people with a common goal like इसको shouldering अच्छे से आता है, इसको ले लो, मेरे को भी आता है, हमारी अच्छी जमेगी. No. Take people with a complementary skill. So then you all sum up and form a team. What comes after team? Now you formed a team. You showed them a vision mission, right? इसके अंदर vision mission की बात करना भूल गए. We start a startup, देखते बहुत पैसा है space education में, इसमें let's start. No, that's a wrong thing. You should have a vision and a mission. Now what's the vision? Vision क्या होता है और mission दोनों में difference क्या है? Quick answers I want.
Sir,
Yes, Mandar.
sir, vision is the what you want to become in sometime, and the mission
Correct.
is how you will.
Perfect. Perfect. He's just 11. Mandar is just 11 right now. Okay. So vision is where you want to reach and mission is how you want to reach. That you have to finalize. And vision should not be I want to, like every Indian space company is first. Every Indian space company is best. Whenever I meet someone, we are the first this company. We are the best. We are the leading company. How can you define? Let your customer define, right, for you. So the thing is, this is very important, vision and mission. You have to show it to your team and then they will join you and then they will have a purpose. Now, what is purpose? Vision is when you look forward, purpose is you look backward, that why you started. That is very important. Why you started. Why should be very strong. Everyone here know what they are doing. Everyone know how they are doing, but no one knows why they are doing. So please think of your why. Make it strong. ठीक है. ये हो गया उसके बाद at Star we worked on our culture. We never wanted a corporate. We never wanted an organization which would actually cheat their customers or हमेशा under deliver करे और normal deliver करे. We always thought of over delivering. We always thought of being an ethical company. मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, if you want to check कि कोई कंपनी का PR कैसा है, so don't judge them on the basis of the way the PR talks with the customers, but the PR of a company can be judged by the way they talk with the servants, with the security guards, and with the common people with whom they have, which are not the stakeholders, direct stakeholders. Okay? Whenever you have to judge the management of the company, you can judge them by the way they behave with the indirect stakeholders, like the security guards, the servants, right? The way you treat them. If they are involving these people into their celebrations, that means the company is good. They are considering each and every member in at same position. So that is what we believed. Then comes MVP, that's minimum viable product, and then comes you make a first prototype, then you give it to for the use for the free of cost to the 100 users, then they give you feedbacks. Then feedbacks are the most important thing, most important. Then you take feedbacks and then you build again. You rebuild your prototype, and that is how it keeps on improvising. And in the end, that is how you do. And that's not a standard flow, but then investment and all things comes later on. Like Star have never taken investment. For 4.5 years we have worked, and we invested 0 rupee. We started with the 0 rupee. Recently, 2 days back, I was talking to one of the investment firms. We were just having a casual talk, and when he asked, okay, bootstrap to kar diya, मतलब कितना पैसा डाला था? I said 0. He was shocked. He said in the 13 years of his career, he never saw a startup who actually bootstrapped with a 0 rupee investment. So that is an achievement for us that we got, and just because of you students, we were able to do that. So all the credits go to you. And culture, like last thing about startups, then we'll go to the other question. If you want to build a company, focus on your product or service. But if you want to build a legacy, focus on your culture. Yesterday, we changed our leave policies. A new policy we implemented by getting inspired from iVipnan and Zomato, both companies. We announced 12 paid leaves for all the working women employees who are there with us and who will be there in future. Right now, we don't have many women who are there, but in future, I hope there will be many female and women who will be working with us. And we announced 12 paid leaves for their periods and menstrual cycle, right? And even we have taken that pledge that we won't terminate any pregnant lady for taking leaves during pregnancy. So these are the cultures that we are building right now, and this is going to help us out. For us, like for management, the priorities are people. We have to take care of people. And when you are part of Star, not only you, but your family is our responsibility. So if any person in your family is suffering from anything, management हमेशा help के लिए ready रहता है. हमेशा. We are not funded, we don't have $1 million, but still we are there to stand, because स्टार को बनाता कौन है? आप लोग बनाते हो और हमारे जो टीम मेंबर्स है वही बनाते हैं. अदरवाइज स्टार सिर्फ एक नाम है. इट्स नॉट अ ब्रांड, right? It's we people who make Star. So this is an ethic and a principle we have inscribed in our company, and that is what I suggest you guys. We need more, inspiring entrepreneurs in a company. So So please take care of the culture and ethics, and we have to follow these footprints which are laid by Abdul Kalam sir and Ratan Tata. Sorry for the long answer. I'm really sorry. The question was longer. Next question, Sai. We can have other question.
Sir, since we all could see, Government of India has made many changes in space sector recently.
Yes.
So what will be the benefits of it for a startup, which would the current startups in India?
Okay. So, like for example, for the satellite-based startups, there were a lot of arrangements which were done by ISRO. They were helping them. But let's talk specifically for the rocket startups, like launch vehicle-based. Excuse me. So now, after the announcement of InSpace and the other independent organizations, now private companies will be getting a lot of help from the ISRO, because the number of small satellites which are being manufactured worldwide is increasing like anything. And we don't have the small scale launch vehicles. So we need Indian private players to start building and start working on that. It's not a job of 1 or 2 companies. We need actually 8 to 10 or more companies to work in this, to be frank, right? Because the way the graph is growing, it's exponential, and the number of launch vehicle making companies is not even in the multiplicational factor. So we need a lot of, you know, we need a lot of startups into this, and that's the reason ISRO now announced to handhold, because for a rocket company, it's not difficult to build a rocket, but it's difficult to have an infrastructure for the test facility, for the launch pads, and for the manufacturing units, and for performing your test. So these are the things which cost more, which are really like very expensive, and no investors would put money when they know that a lot of infrastructure will be needed to carry out one mission. So ISRO decided to provide this particular facilities and the assets they own, and now companies can focus be only on the rockets and the technologies they are building, and then they will be able to just like they can submit their proposal to ISRO, and then they can collaborate with them, and I guess they can work with them. No clear framework is there right now, but I guess this is the flow that they are going to follow. And someone have asked about the funding thing as well, I guess. Just a minute, chat. Open नहीं हो रहा है. Someone has asked about how active is the funding process in space technology in our country. Investors were not ready a couple of years back, but now they are ready for investment. A lot of VC firms are coming up who are putting money into space domain and which are now taking interested. Like in last 1 month after the announcement, we have personally met a lot of like investors now. A lot of people are approaching, and now we have got a lot of meeting scheduled with the investors also again. Like before starting this session, I had a meeting with the investor a couple of days back. I had a meeting. Now investors are taking interest in putting money, but you should have a very strong purpose, mission, a good roadmap for your startup, a good proof of concept about the work that you are doing. So these are the things which are required now, and a good brand value also is required to get the money. So yeah. Next question.
We have got an interesting question from comments.
Okay.
So, the student not from engineering background, what he contribute to his field?
So if you guys might be following us, you might have heard about this thing. Space is for everyone. The tagline, right? So I'll give the answer in the two parts. One is space is for everyone. By that, we genuinely mean that it's not limited for the people who belong to one academic background, that is aerospace or mechanical or electronics. Second is, when we say it's for everyone, that means we are also not limiting it to a religion or a community. Third, we are not even limiting it to a nation. Fourth, we are not limiting it to the people on the basis of the financial conditions. At STAR, what we have done is, if any student want to attend any of our sessions, but if they're not capable to pay us, they can write us an email, and we provide them 100% scholarship on our courses. Because when we say spaces for everyone, that it means it is for everyone, irrespective of all these factors, right? So उसके अंदर ये भी आ जाता है. Now the another thing, in this pandemic, we conducted a lot of webinars. We invited a lot of people from US to talk and interact with students on Facebook and other platforms. Not other platforms, it was only on Facebook generally. But most of the science communicators who were talking about space were from the arts background. One was a DJ, one was an RJ, then one person was, I guess, a photographer. So they belong to that platform, but that particular background before, and now they joined to space industry. So in foreign countries, it is open for everyone, and you can be a part of this. In our country, we believe you need to be an engineer, you need to be an aerospace engineer to be this, which is a completely wrong thing. This is a mindset our generation need to change, because then people are keep on believing this. Like a lot of investors still believe that only an aerospace founder can have a space company, which is a wrong thing, right? Which is a completely wrong mindset. Why? Because in our country, a lot of students still believe, I want to make a career in space, so I want an admission in aerospace. I used to believe that, but now I realize it was wrong. We now need to change our mindset. If you are into biology, astrobiology is a very important topic. We had a webinar with Shauna Pandya, right? She's an analog astronaut. So, like she's working with Project POSM right now. And आप देख सकते हो उनका interview. She mentioned that you don't need to be from any other, like from the biology or the other background, from the space background to be in the astrobiology. If you have learned biology good, you can contribute into space medicine and all the astrobiology. So these are the opportunities, and a lot of companies are now are focusing on the interplanetary mission. So this is going to play a very important role to understand the physics and the even the psychology of humans when they are there into space and when they are returning back. Especially for the Mars mission, I guess the most crucial thing, important, challenging task is the psychological factor. Not the rockets, not the landing procedures, not the algorithms. Nothing is difficult. The only thing which is difficult is how they will be keeping the psychological balance while they will be in a spacecraft, a small spacecraft, for 10 months. Imagine the lockdown situation. We all gone through that, right? For a month, we were not able to control ourselves. So imagine for the 10 months, it will be difficult because the rockets are not so advanced that they can send something to Mars in less than 10 or 8 months. So this will be a challenging task. So I guess astrobiology, like space medicines and all are the opportunities for you guys. So you can be a part of that. Engineering is not the core requirement for this.
So, sir, we have got a question from Propulsion.
Okay.
Could you explain about dissociation of project and nozzle and how do we calculate it?
Pardon?
Could you please explain about dissociation of product and nozzle and how would we calculate it?
I'm really sorry, I'm not aware about this term. So if that particular person can tell me this word in the easier manner that kya hota hai, so I can explain the procedure. But I'm not used to this terminology.
Yes. Also, other question. What are the technical difficulties that you are facing in propulsion?
Okay, this I can take because right now we are working on one of the propulsion systems. Difficulties first is, like, for example, if we talk about at the students level, it's very difficult to know from where to start, right? You need to have a problem statement. So I'll give you a good flow how you can work in this domain. You need an astrodynamics in your team. The astrodynamics will give you a proper information about the thrust that is required to put something at to particular height. Okay, and for what duration? Like, for example, it's 60 kilonewton of thrust for the 140 seconds. Now you know that you need to have this. Then you can use a Ciolsky equation. Like, if you guys know, it's delta V equals to ISP into G0 ln of M0 by MF. Or we know the velocity delta V, we can easily find it out by kinematics. We know the ISP because when you're working with a fuel, a combination of fuel, you can derive the ISP value. You know the G0, which is the gravitational acceleration. Then M0 by MF. M0 is the initial mass when your rocket is on the launch pad. That means structure plus your propellant. And MF is the final mass when your all propellant is gone. That is the unknown. That's a known thing. You know the structure. You have to find out how much propellant you are going to put. So by putting all the known things, the only unknown is the initial mass of the rocket when the rocket will be there on the launch pad. When you get a final mass, that's the structure mass. Initial mass is structure plus propellant. So when you subtract the final mass from the initial mass, you get the propellant mass. So now you know how much amount of propellant to be used. For example, if you get some value like 6,000 kgs, now 6,000 divided by 150, that's what the burn time, you get your, basically the burn rate, okay, mass flow rate. Now it's on the type, it depends on the kind of propellant you are using. For example, if you are using like RP1 and liquid ox, you have got a composition which is 2.56 ka ratio oxidizer by fuel, and every propellant have a different ratio. You can go opt with any of them. Now you can start working on your nozzle. Now for nozzle, what you have to do is your the thrust that you want, which is 60 kilonewton, right? You know your thrust. When you put that into a particular equation, which is F equals to m dot v, which is exhaust velocity, plus P2 minus P3 into exit area. Now you know your m dot v, you know your m dot, which is the mass flow rate, you know exhaust velocity, which is nothing but ISP into G0. You need the ambient condition takes some minor adjustments. Like, for example, P2 is right now P3 is 1 atmosphere, and you're operating at somewhere 0.9 atmosphere or something. Okay, thoda upar le jata hai. So you will get the exit area. And that is how you start. Now you got an exit area. There are a few equations, I won't get into details now, but there are the ratios of the throat area and the exit area, and then you can get your throat का जो भी area वो मिल जाएगा. You got the exit, you got the throat. Now your nozzle will start taking the shape. Then comes important part, which is the chamber pressure. Now, how can you find that? So you should know the characteristic velocity. When you have got a characteristic velocity, it is simple. It's equals to the chamber pressure into the throat area divided by the mass flow rate. You know the mass flow rate, you know the characteristic velocity, you know the throat area. So only thing is chamber pressure. So you will get a chamber pressure. Now you know the how much amount of mass which is going to enter in the chamber. I know it's very complicated process वो जो बोल रहा हूँ, but बाद में कभी समझाऊंगा अच्छे से, notes में दे दूंगा. But when you get your chamber, ठीक है, you know the amount of fuel, you know the pressure which you need. So from that you can find out the volume. From the volume you can get the dimensions, and your chamber, throat, and nozzle exit will be ready, and that is how you get your whole nozzle. So this is a flow which is not there in any of the books. I'm just revealing it because ये फ्लो है जो बहुत कंपनीज फॉलो भी करती है, एंड उन्होंने अपने तक रखा है, इंडस्ट्रीज ने अपने तक रखा है. बट आई वांट यू गाइस टू वर्क ऑन रॉकेट्स एंड यू टू बिल्ड देम. So this is one of the ways you can make the nozzles, but this is one of the ways. There are a lot of ways. I hope I answered fine, but it was too technical. The question was technical.
Yes, sir. So we have come to the end, sir.
Okay.
So if I don't have any question they could ask.
We can take a couple of questions and then we can go, but let's take the couple of questions. Let's see how many people I know here, because I didn't get time to say hi to everyone. But I know Ganesh Iyer, I know Gopal, I know Harit, hi. Harsh, hi. Mayank, hi. Mandar, hi. Priyansh, hi. Pratmesh, Sahil. Sorry if I missed someone. Shivam, Hera, I know. Shweta, I know, I guess. Shweta, are you from Bangalore? I don't remember. Sorry, but I guess. Swapnil. So we have got propulsion engineers of Star also here. So why I was answering? They could have answered this easily. Let's take the questions now. If you want to know anything about Star, if you want to know anything about any other company, I can answer if I know.
Hello?
Yes, Mandar.
Sir, when is HTPB used?
So it's generally used in PSLV. It's I guess hyper polybutadiene, right? I don't remember the name. Yes. So ऐसा कुछ नाम है, and it is used in the like strip-on motors for the अपना PSLV.
Sir, because I saw a video where it was being used in a high-powered rocket.
Yes, you can go for like जो ammonium perchlorate है, फिर HTPB है, so you can do that, but again it's very dangerous to make this fuel, very dangerous. So I won't recommend you to do that.
Because it looked like it was an engine and
Yes.
I don't know the exact size, but it looked like around the size of a shuttlecock box.
Okay. By the way, guys, I would like to introduce Mandar. He is one of my favorite students, and like we are connected since long now. And Mandar is a part of my team, and like I personally learn a lot of things from him. He's just 11. If you guys might have seen that post of Star, जहाँ पे we actually wrote that 11-old kid is now a part of our team. He's the one. And at this stage, he's working on model rockets, the CanSats, the flight computers, then a lot of techs, and he has been associated with us since long, and he has been inspiration for me, by the way. And the way the parents and the teachers of him have supported him is very commendable. He's so down to earth personality at this age. He has learned how to share gratitude with people. Whenever you like right now, I am appreciating him, admiring him, and he always keeps on sharing the credits with his parents and teachers. So not only technical advancement, but the way he has been groomed is really, really good. So again, thank you so much, Mandar, for being the part of this session.
So, sir, another thing, sir, MMF is used in satellite, na? Monomethyl hydrazine. So, sir, is that used in any rockets?
So that can be used in the reaction control systems, thrusters.
Okay.
Small scale RCS, when you put to control the orientation of the spacecraft, for that you can surely use that.
Okay, and sir, what about UDMH?
Again, so UDMH is one of the like very widely used fuel. You can also opt for that. Like ISRO is using UDMH in the
Yes,
upper
in
stages as well.
GSLV marks this Vikas
Yes,
engineering.
yes. So UDMH is being used by ISRO. So yes, but at our scale right now, we cannot go with the UDMH, and it's very toxic as well.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime on that. So how do we calculate the percentage of oxidizer and percentage of fuel for the high model rockets? You can experiment it out. Like we tried it out with the 60-40 ratio, then 35-65 ratio, then 70-30 ratio. We tried it out and we found out the impulse, and every time like we got a very good impulse for the 65-35 ratio. So we are using that right now. But uh, for the big rockets, I guess chemical engineering comes into picture. I'm not the right person to answer this, but chemical engineering comes into picture, and where like you analyze things like how much amount of oxidizer will be needed. Like for example, I can make it out कि अभी for example like there is one chemical जिसका boiling point अच्छा है मतलब बहुत low है तो I guess you need less oxidizer, but if it's very high then you need more oxidizer to burn it. So it depends on the fuel you are using. I don't know exact procedure or the equations to finalize it. I'm really sorry, Gopal, but this is the logic behind doing this. Someone is asking you guys hiring. We are not hiring right now. I guess in a couple of weeks we'll be opening the one of the like requirements for the shapers team, not for the technical right now, for the space education thing, or nothing now for the technical. It will be there. What are your thoughts on ammonium perchlorate? Perchlorate, see, ammonium perchlorate का जो specific impulse, it's better, but it's very toxic. So I don't recommend students to use that right now. It's very toxic, so don't opt for that right now. Just go with the KNO3 and sugar. But again, वो भी बहुत dangerous है. If anyone have got lungs issue or breathing issue, don't directly be there the propulsion वाला जगह पे थोड़ा दूर खड़े रह के करो. But take care of like yourself by working with propulsion. A final question we can have. A final question. Or
So I
yes,
have a question.
yes, fine.
Since ISRO was using Vikas engine for a long time, it works on gas generator cycle. Why could we go for other power cycles like the one Raptor engine staged combustion?
I guess Mayank is here. Mayank can answer this better because he's working on that subsystem. Is he allowed to answer? Because he's the right person.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Mayank, are you there?
Yep.
Yes, Mayank. Now it's your turn. Propulsion.
So basically, full flow stage combustion cycle is basically very complex.
त्याला त्याचं chemical composition काय आहे?
Hello.
Hello?
Mandar, by
Mandar.
mistake unmuted himself, I guess.
Yes, sorry, sir.
No worries, Mandar. Okay, yes, Mayank, continue.
Okay, so basically the this kind of cycles, full flow stage combustion cycles are generally used for the cryogenic kind of fuel. So basically UDMH and N2O4 are hypergolic kind of fuel. So this we keep very simple cycle for that engine. We don't need to include a complexity in that kind of engine. So if you need higher specific impulse or higher thrust, then you can go
Then
for
you
a
can
full
opt for
flow.
that, yes.
Because in that combustion cycle you added extra turbine, you added extra pumps, and you added extra pipelines, so it increases the weight, and your thrust by weight ratio can be reduced in normal kind of propellants. So it is better to use in cryogenic propellants.
So in cryogenic
That's
and
why.
semi-cryogenic, you for the better combustion, what you have to do is you have to increase the pressure in the chamber, and obviously you have to take care of the proper mixture of your liquid and oxidizer. So, sorry, liquid fuel and the oxidizer. So it's very important to select your injector in such a way that the things get mixed up, and the atomization is a very important factor. And ये सब चीजें important होता है when you are dealing with so for the proper combustion. In hypergolic fuels, what happens is you don't need to go through all this complexity, and you don't need to take care of this particular thing. It matters, but इतना ही होता है. They combine and they start the ignition. So that's the reason. No additional thing needed, and you can directly opt for it.
Yeah, because a full flow stage combustion cycle needed 2 turbines and 2 pumps.
2 pumps.
Yeah, so that's why that increases your weight.
And it increases the pressure as well, but weight भी increase होता है, which is a big factor and which is not needed.
But yeah, but for the normal fuels, you gas generator cycle is very efficient, so we can use that.
Rasika is also there. Hi Rasika. Shout out to Rasika as well. Rasika, Swapnil, Priyansh, Pratmesh, Mandar, those people who worked with us and जो काम कर रहे हैं अभी. Sai, it was very important question by the way. Are you working on liquid engine?
No, sir. Actually, SCDS is working on solid propulsion, but I'm studying about liquid propulsion.
Okay, cool. No worries. One more question we can have from the audience side. Like Science connected to me on LinkedIn, तो वो तो हम बात करेंगे. But if anyone want to ask anything, so why the expense of ISRO is very much lower than the NASA and other countries' space organization? See, the reason is economy, and the second thing is like most of the parts that are being manufactured are very nearby, so ISRO can easily get them and assemble them and launch. Like NASA makes different thing. It goes to a lot of level of manufacturers and the retailers and all. So when it reaches to NASA, till NASA तो बहुत increase हो जाता है. So that's the reason the costs of NASA missions are really very high, and their assembly is somewhere, their manufacturing is somewhere, their calibration is somewhere. So पूरा अलग-अलग direction में. तो transportation cost, shipment cost. Are we left with anything? Sai?
No, sir.
We can get some feedbacks right now. We are obviously going to take them on the guys, you can tell me in comment how was the session. If you want to know more things and if you are feeling shy and if you want to ask something, you can drop me a text on LinkedIn or any social media platform. It's fine if you don't follow, but if you want to ask, you can ask. Okay, anytime. I would like to answer the queries, and I'm hoping to meet you very soon again. And I hope you guys like this session. I personally like this session because the questions were really interesting, and because SEDS managed to get a lot of people on board, so it was more interesting. Back to you, Sai.
Thank you, sir. We have also got a feedback link in the comment, so audience can fill it out.
Okay, and Sai, I request you to share the feedbacks. Even though if they are bad, you can share.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
So we could conclude.
Yep. So, okay, in the end, I would like to say thank you so much to the SEDS community for inviting me and for giving me the wonderful opportunity to talk to students. I'm really happy because I got to
So I, Rakshit Stephen, on behalf of the SCDS Club and my own behalf, extend a heartfelt gratitude to our speaker for today, Mr. Sunny Kabrawala, who has graced the session with his presence amidst his busy schedule. Thank you for your very interesting and thought-provoking address. You're truly an inspiration, sir. I would like to thank the coordinators for making this event a great success. Finally, the wonderful students who have turned up in such great numbers from different parts of the country. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Feedback link